With all the TVs featuring identical model numbers now having the same specification worldwide, is Hisense onto a winner with the U7K? Let's find out. Hello and welcome to another video here on AV Forums. I'm Phil Hinton, the site editor, and I'm a fully trained ISF and THX calibrator with 20 years of experience. In this video, we're looking at the Hisense U7K Mini LED TV. The U7K is available in 3 screen sizes starting from 55 inches at £1,199, a 65 inch at £1,499, and there's a massive 75 incher at £1,799. The 65 inch TV we're reviewing here was provided by Hisense UK and it's a completely brand new unit. The Hisense U7K is the second tier ULED mini LED TV in the 2023 lineup, and it implements a 4K LCD VA panel using mini LED backlighting with 384 separate dimming zones and an advanced local dimming algorithm. It's positioned as a mass market option with quantum dot color technology and a 144Hz panel, plus there's gaming features to appeal to a wide audience. Gaming support is good on the Hisense with 2 full bandwidth 48GB per second HDMI 2.1 ports and the ability to run a maximum of 4K 144Hz with a gaming PC. With the latest generation of consoles, you get 4K 120, AMD FreeSync Premium, VRR support, ALLM, which is auto low latency mode. There's also a game bar for instant feedback on gaming settings and features, and the input lag measures in at 13.2 milliseconds for 4K 60 and between 5.5 and 5.7 milliseconds for 4K 120. We also get some much needed image accuracy with the inclusion of IMAX Enhanced mode and a Filmmaker mode. The Filmmaker mode is available with HDR10, HDR10+, and SDR sources and is designed to get the grayscale and colour gamut tracking as close as possible to the industry standards so you can view content as it was mastered and intended to be seen. This is important for TVs at this market position, as given the owners are less likely to go down the professional calibration route, just given the price of the TV and the costs of doing that. The U7K also supports all of the current HDR flavours with HDR10, HDR10+, HDR10+ Adaptive, HLG Hybrid Log Gamma, IMAX Enhanced, Dolby Vision and Dolby Vision IQ compatibility. Audio-wise, there's also support for DTS:X, IMAX DTS and Dolby Atmos formats, and the sound system offers 2.1 channels with a rear-facing subwoofer for added low-end weight to film soundtracks. The VIDA U7.0 Smart TV system looks modern and fresh with excellent app support, and it feels responsive and quick to load items. The menu system also feels intuitive and is easy to navigate. The Hisense U7K design is really quite surprising, with a neat and tidy look that uses decent materials to give a more expensive feel. The panel edges look and feel like aluminium, with the rear panel and stand looking metallic but actually being made from plastics. The fit and finish are good, with a classy look that would make you think that you'd purchased a more expensive luxury item, and this is something that Hisense has always done for a long time with their TVs. The excellent build quality seen on the body of the TV continues with the remote control, which quite frankly puts many other more expensive TVs to shame. It's a sleek metal affair with the main buttons towards the top of the unit, with menu options and directional keys to the centre and direct video on demand keys to the bottom of the remote. It sits neatly in the hand and it feels like an expensive item. We go into picture quality measurements and detail within the written review on AV Forums, so head over to read all the details on the out of the box and calibrated results there. We fully measured and tested the out of the box settings, as well as calibrating the U7K and put it through some rigorous testing, including side-by-side comparison with its closest rival. If you want to know what the best settings are out of the box, then you can also check out our settings video on our YouTube channel. In the most accurate D65 Filmmaker mode, the Hisense U7K measures in at 585 nits on an industry standard 10% window and 523 nits full screen. The problem here is that 25% window measures in at 760 nits, which over brightens the average picture level APL, with HDR10 content looking washed out and clipped. Added to this is blooming suppression, which means that small peak highlight areas are too dull and the image loses some of its dynamic range as a result. Moving to PQ EOTF tracking to the ST2084 standard, and the U7K in Filmmaker Mode is accurate to the standards and it doesn't push brightness over the top. There is only one tone map which is used for masking metadata differences, and anything over 600 nits is completely clipped of any detail. Wide colour gamut to the DCI P3 standard was surprising, with very good saturation tracking to the standard's colour points. Added to this is the excellent colour volume thanks to the use of quantum dots, with tracking that many more expensive TVs would love to be capable of producing. However, this is dampened somewhat by the hard clipping and over brightening of the PQ EOTF curve, which does detract from the overall HDR10 experience. Dolby Vision also tracks too dark in the DV dark mode. We measured BT 2020 at 76% XY and 82% UV, with P3 coming in at 97% XY and 98% UV. Moving to screen uniformity when displaying a 5% brightness slide, and we see that the edges are slightly brighter than the centre of the screen, with the bottom of the edge most noticeable. This is similar when moving up the brightness slides, with slightly darker edges to the panel and lighter central areas, with some dirty screen effect DSE also present and noticeable. Uniformity is patchy in places with sports content where the pitches have that more uniform colour and there's cameras moving over them, then DSE is highlighted and really quite noticeable. Motion is good on the U7K with no obvious issues seen, with 24 frames per second material which is displayed with the correct pull down applied. Plus 50Hz broadcast is also decent with no obvious frame skipping or micro stutters seen. Upscaling is also good, but SD channels do look very soft, and even HD 1080 content can look a little softer than we would like. Edges can also look a little false with broadcast material, with some obvious ringing seen around certain types of content. Moving to HDR10 and HDR10 Plus content with the Hisense, and we come up against a few little issues concerning how the TV tone maps the different mastering display metadata. 4000 nit master content, for example, has highlight details missing and the image looks over bright as a result, against what it should like, matching the standards. The more expensive LED models manage to do this in a much more successful manner, with separate tone maps for mastering monitor data up to 10,000 nits, but the Hisense clips anything over its peak brightness limit. This is very evident in the Spears and Munsell demo footage with the horses in the snow, and there's absolutely no background or grass information seen over 600 nits. Other sets manage to do this much more successfully than the Hisense, plus the set seems to over brighten HDR content from all sources. Dolby Vision is much more successful as it uses dynamic metadata, which tells the TV how to map the content to its capabilities on a frame by frame or scene by scene basis. However, we also noted that this is done darker than the PQ standard, so blacks are a little bit crushed and shadow detail is much harder to make out when watching in dim surroundings. Dolby Vision IQ works well for those who will be using the U7K in a normal environment with good lighting, as it adjusts the gamma and tone mapping to match the room conditions while trying to stay true to the creator's intent. We're about to show you some side-by-side comparison shots on video, but bear in mind that these are not representative of what I can see here in person, as they're captured by a camera with a restricted dynamic range. They're then edited and then compressed and uploaded to YouTube, and then further compressed and changed by YouTube before you see them on your display. And let's be fair, that's probably not calibrated either, so what you see looks completely different to what I can see here in person. So these clips really are for illustration only. We really haven't reviewed many TVs that compete directly with the Hisense U7K, but we do have the TCL C845 in for review at the same time, and it's perfect for this comparison as the TCL is an almost identical TV when it comes to features, setup and the technology used. Plus, at the time of this review in August 2023, it's £500 cheaper than the Hisense. The C845 was set to movie mode and the Hisense U7K was in Filmmaker mode for this side-by-side comparison. The TCL is much brighter than the Hisense, and this was evident straight away in our comparisons. Plus, the tone mapping for HDR10 content is much better and resolved more peak highlight details, where the Hisense clipped that detail away over 600 nits. The peak brightness performance mixed with better image processing saw the C845 continually better the U7K with all HDR formats we viewed. Plus, the Hisense does slightly look more accurate with SDR, but the TCL is just that little bit more polished performer overall. Shadow detail was very good on the C845, adding a nice depth to the image, whereas the U7K looks slightly more crushed in the blacks within the same dark scenes. Given the TCL is cheaper and offers more dynamic range, better tone mapping and overall picture quality, plus it has some great gaming features which are the same as the Hisense. EARC is on an HDMI 2.0 port, so you keep both HDMI 2.1 ports, and it has Google Smart TV with everything it offers, and it's tough love for the Hisense in this comparison. That's not to say that the Hisense is a bad TV, far from it, but the TCL just offers slightly more for less money, making the Hisense look a little overpriced for what's on offer elsewhere on the market. So let's wrap this up. The Hisense U7K offers good accuracy for SDR and HDR content, but it's not for critical movie watching in a dark room due to the limitations of the LCD technology and the lack of real dynamic range for HDR. Where this TV really shines, pun intended, is when it's used in a normal living room with some ambient lighting and watching everyday content or playing games. It makes a great TV for the living room for those who are not worried about absolute image accuracy or contrast and who just want a bright detailed image with good smart TV and excellent gaming credentials for the latest consoles. It offers support for all of the available HDR and audio formats, and it produces a decent image within the set's capabilities that will please the vast majority of the general mass market out there. It also makes an ideal second room TV for all of those reasons. It is, however, a little bit pricey when compared to direct rivals like the TCL C845, which just offers a better image in my opinion. Don't forget, the full in-depth review at AV Forums goes into all of this in much more detail, so head over and check it out. If you've enjoyed this review, then please do leave us a like, and if you want to see more TV reviews from AV Forums, including our thoughts on the 2023 flagship models, then please consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching.